In 2021, the Welsh Fire were extinguished from the 100 before they really got going. However, it's a new year, and we're going to have a quick squad preview to see whether their chances are better and whether they can really take the competition by storm. Welcome to the 100 Club. My name is Tom, and I'm joined once again by Rich, and we continue our series of squad previews ahead of the 2022 edition of the 100. Continuing with the men, the women will follow later, allowing them some time to get through the Commonwealth Games. If you're new here, welcome. It's great to see you. And if you like what we do, then do hit the like button down below. That'd be much appreciated. Helps us out. Helps the YouTube algorithms work out what people are watching. And if you really want to see some more squad previews, then do hit that subscribe button and you'll see the rest of the squad previews as we get through them. Rich, time to talk about the Welsh Fire. Clearly had a pretty miserable 2021, 7th overall. What do you think their chances look like in 2022?
Yeah, well, it was more of a smoulder last year than a full-blown fire, I guess. I mean, it didn't help that with the COVID regulations being different in Wales, they never played in front of more than a few thousand people in Cardiff.
Yeah,
that will be different this year. So that's going to be one element to it that's going to be interesting to see. A few interesting additions to the squad. I like what they've done in the off season, and I think that. I think they could contend this year. I'm quite bullish on the Welsh Fire, Tom. You'll be pleased to know.
Well, I certainly am. I'm wearing the strip. Without further ado, let's have a look at the squad, and this is your picks for the squad. So I think the headlines straight up front, though, are the big money they've invested in that opening partnership, right? Clark and Banton.
Yeah, so I think we should point out that the first test between England and South Africa starts on the 17th of August. The 100 starts on the 3rd. So we think there will be some availability of the England players at the beginning of the tournament, and then possibly in between. They might be available for finals day. We're not sure. This really affects the Welsh Fire, though, Tom, right? In terms of the two big hitters, Jonny Bairstow and Ollie Pope.
Yeah, and I've put the lovely picture of young Jonny Bairstow down at the bottom there. I think they could manage 3 games for those two. And if you wanted 2 players in your squad for a white ball tournament right now, you wouldn't look much further than Jonny Bairstow on form, would you?
Yeah, I like to think those Jonny Bairstow innings were really inspired by his time with the Welsh Fire to really set him up for Test cricket success.
Well, if you remember last year, clearly Gary Kirsten, the coach for the Welsh Fire men's team, was pretty furious that Jonny Bairstow suddenly became a Test player again and got withdrawn from the 100. But that's gone quite well for him as well. So in all formats now, Jonny Bairstow looking like an absolute a new player.
He is. I mean, the batting lineup when those two are around is even more frightening, right? But we're thinking about the bulk of the tournament. I think it will be Joe Clark and Tom Banton. 2 young English players, both with a bit of a point to prove, I would say. All the talent in the world. Banton's been involved in England, set up quite a few times. Joe Clark hasn't, more for sort of off the field issues that probably best not going into. But I feel like this tournament, both of them could set out with a bit of a point to prove to the wider cricketing public. What do you think, Tom?
Well, I think so. And maybe Joe Clark has a point to prove to the Manchester Originals, who had him last year and didn't make the most of him, maybe. I also think that they're going to be really glad to see the return of Ben Duckett. I've got him at 3, but again, this order is pretty fluid for me. Ben Duckett, again, a fantastic big hitter, with David Miller in the form of his life, maybe at 4.
Yeah, bags of experience with David Miller, gives you that left-hand option as well. Just power. I mean, he's going to love those straight boundaries in Cardiff. So, yeah, I could see some big totals being posted down there this season. Even Sam Hain coming in. I've got him at 5. I mean, he's had a fantastic blast as well, which means that I've sort of then gone into the all-rounders quite early there. So, tremendous flexibility.
Yeah, so of Hain and Critchley, for me, are maybe the ones who might drop out if Bairstow and Pope are in play. Is that fair enough for you?
Yeah, I think so. I thought Matt Critchley had a pretty good blast for Essex. Wickets pretty much every game, and I think he just brings a sort of a balance to the side. Obviously, he's a good spinner. He can bat. Had a couple of sort of good interventions with the bat last year for the Fire. I think you're right. If you bring those England boys back in, perhaps he's the guy to drop out.
Okay. Well, whilst we're talking about spinners then, so if Critchley's in, you've also then got a hugely experienced and probably a really underrated spinning option in the white ball game for me, Adam Zampa, coming back this year, was previously associated with the Birmingham Phoenix. That's a good pickup for the Welsh Fire, right?
How short our memories are, Tom. I mean, he was essentially the player of the tournament for me in the T20 World Cup last year in the UAE. Australia went on to win it. I think he was a huge part of that. He will need wickets to hopefully help him a little bit. We've had an incredibly dry summer here in the UK so far. It's been incredibly hot. And I think that's probably really going to assist the spinners as we go into August. So I think Zampa could be a real trump card for the Fire here.
Yeah,
not just in terms of economy, but also as a real wicket-taking threat.
Yeah, and last year clearly they had Qais Ahmed, who did pretty well. They have another intriguing option from Afghanistan in terms of spin on the bench, as it were, for your squad in Noor Ahmad. But I think he might well end up as a starting option for them if they can find a space amongst the overseas, potentially at the cost of Naseem Shah in Noor Ahmad. So how are you weighing that one up for yourself?
I was thinking I'd go with Naseem Shah. I think international league experience. He's played in the CPL. He's done all right for Gloucestershire this summer, so he's got a bit of experience of English conditions. He's got a couple of years on Noor Ahmad.
Everyone's got a few years on Noor Ahmad. He's 17.
Yes. Yeah, I think Naseem Shah maybe gets the nod, but I think maybe on a pitch like Old Trafford that really takes spin. I'm not sure if the Fire are playing the originals at Old Trafford. Maybe you go with an additional spinner there, but otherwise, I was thinking for balance, you probably go with Naseem Shah ahead of Noor Ahmad, but wouldn't be surprised to see him get a few games.
Yeah, and paces are not in short supply from the domestic options as well. They've got Jake Ball returning and George Scrimshaw, who we might owe a small apology to, right? Based on what we said about in the wildcard previews.
Yeah, he was brilliant in that quarter-final for Leicestershire down at Somerset, where Somerset set the record score. Derbyshire, sorry, not Leicestershire. Somerset posted, what was it, 260 odd? And Scrimshaw bowled his 4 overs for about 20. It's a quite incredible achievement.
Yeah, they're not saying so much about the other four or five bowling options that they produced, but yeah, and he's clearly been involved with some of the England setup as well in the last couple of weeks. So maybe he's coming back. But I liked what I saw, and so maybe a really good option there. But they've got a fair bit on the bench as well in the bowling option. So what do you like from the bench in particular for yourself?
Well, I think in terms of the benches, I'm quite intrigued by Jacob Bethel. I know he didn't have a fantastic blast, but he was quite impressive in the Under-19s World Cup. And I think it'd be useful for him to be around this kind of group. And I wonder if he might get a bit of game time along the way. Be interested to see how he goes.
So he's a left-arm spinner. They've also got a bit of Ryan Higgins giving a bit of medium fast as an option out there. And Josh Cobb, I think, could offer a bit of an off break. But most of those are kind of all-rounder options, offer a fair amount of flexibility. So the big question is for you, Rich, is this a better squad than 2021? And what's the limit for this squad?
I think it's an improvement on 2021. I like the look of the batting, especially with the when the England boys are available. I think Zampa's a definite improvement. I think at the moment, best short format spinner in the world. So I think they could, and I'll say that in every video, I think each of the 8 teams can qualify for the last 3. I think the squads, there's that level of parity that the draft allows for. I think they're better than a 7th place that they had last year. Whether or not it's enough to get them into top 3 or not sure. But I think they'll improve on last year. The challenge for them is how much all the other squads improve as well.
Yeah, it looks like a question of consistency for me. Sapphire Gardens, I think they could do really well, especially with those short straight boundaries and that batting power. But as you say, on their day, they could be the answer. But consistency is the question, as you say. So Gary Kirsten's got a job on his hands to get them drilled in the next week or so. We'll be back with some more squad previews. If you want to see some more of that, as I say, hit the subscribe button down below. And we've got a few more to go. Happy with that, Rich?
Happy. Let's go.
We'll see you there.